After finishing speaking, she stood up and kicked Elaine again before turning to leave. Old Mrs. Wilson did not leave, but leaned on the door frame of the toilet, looking at Elaine, who was crying on the ground, and sneered, "Elaine, people are watching. You are an unfilial dog. Did not let me live in Thompson Villa, you can enjoy it by yourself? Take a look. You have not slept in Thompson Villa for one night, and you have fallen to the present end. What is it, do you know? It proves that you did not live at all. Enter the life of Thompson first grade." Elaine cried and said, "Mom, all the previous mistakes were my fault, but you have beaten and scolded and scolded. I beg you to tell Jenna Jones, don't beat me. I'm wrong, I know." Knowing what's wrong? Mrs. Wilson coldly snorted, "Do you think I don't know what you are? If it is strong, it will be soft, and if it is soft, it will be strong. If it weren't for Jenna and other inmates to support me here, you would just fight me. If someone like you really knows what's wrong, the sun can come out from the west." Old Mrs. Wilson and Elaine are actually the same kind of people, and they know each other's nature very well. The Lady Wilson knew very well in her heart that neither Elaine nor herself could really succumb to one person. The only possibility was forced by the situation. Elaine is kneeling on her own now. If she is given a chance to come back, she will worsen her situation. Why not change to be herself? Therefore, she did not intend to have any kindness to Elaine. Moreover, when she remembered the humiliation she had suffered at Thompson, she felt resentful in her heart, and said coldly, "This is the result of your own self-expression. Enjoy your own bitter bar. This is only the first day. There are 14 days left which we will spend together." After speaking, Mrs. Wilson coldly snorted and turned to go out of the toilet. Elaine sat on the floor of the toilet alone, hungry and cold. She was desperate and wanted to cry, but when she thought of the fierce Jenna Jones, she immediately covered her mouth. In the end, she couldn't help it, so hugged her legs and buried her face between the legs and started crying. Elaine has never experienced such a tragic experience in her life, and she suffered more sins in one day than she has suffered in the past decades combined. She panicked when she thought of living in this cell for next 14 days with Mrs. Wilson. Especially when she thought that she would have to wait indefinitely in the detention center, she became even more desperate, and her tears were almost dry. When Elaine was crying in the toilet of the detention center, Charlie and the old man just drove back to the big villa of Thompson. Jacob was humming and singing tunes with excitement along the way, and the joy on his face was beyond words. Claire and Elsa had already returned before them. Charlie and Jacob stepped into the door and saw Claire rushing around in the living room. Seeing them coming in, Claire hurriedly asked, "Dad, Charlie, how many mahjong halls have you been to?" Jacob said with a guilty conscience, "I don't know anymore. Anyway, there are many. We went all the way and looked for them. Whenever we saw the mahjong hall and the chess room, we went in and asked." Claire asked, "Is there no result?" "No." Jacob waved his hand and said, "Oh, Claire, your mother is such a big person. Nothing will happen. At most she will be cheated by the MLM organization. Worry." "How can I not worry?" Claire said with red eyes. "What if she encounters an accident? Now that there is no news from her, all bad things may happen, and the more it's more dangerous if you drag on. Looking at so many disappearances reported in the news, how many people find them and everyone is happy? Most of the results are bad guys, accidents, and the worst." Jacob said embarrassingly, "How can it be as dangerous as you think? Don't you see if your mother is worthy of the bad guy's mind? Is she rich in any way? She has already lost all the money at home. Is she pretty? Other robbers struggled to rob her once, risking being shot in jail, and robbing her like that would be a shame? Dad!" Claire said angrily, "Dad, how can you say that?" At this time, Jacob was thinking about Naching all over his head. In addition, he drank some wine and was a little unrestrained. He didn't care about Elaine, so he said indifferently, "Oh, it's a bit ugly, but every sentence is the truth. One is impossible to rob money, and the other is impossible to rob S3X. What danger can she have? Besides, you don't know your mother's temper? Who dares to provoke her? She yelled out of the window in the community before. The dogs in the whole community dare not bark. Are you afraid of her having trouble? Claire was speechless by Jacob's words, and then her nose shrugged slightly, and asked angrily, "Dad, did you go drinking just now?" Originally, Claire hadn't seen Jacob drinking. But after she got closer, she suddenly smelled the smell of alcohol on his body, and suddenly became very angry. Father usually likes to drink some wine, she has absolutely no opinion, but the point is, he clearly said that he was going to the mahjong hall to find her mother. Why he came back drunken? This proves that he didn't go to search for her mother at all, but to drink. When Jacob heard Claire asking him about drinking, he hurriedly covered his mouth, stepped back, and explained in a panic, "Don't talk nonsense, I didn't drink." "You're just talking nonsense." Claire stomped angrily, "I can smell alcohol on you. You didn't have it when you went out, you have it now. You must have been drinking in the middle." As she said, she fixed her eyes on Jacob's collar, and found that there were a few oil spots, and her angry eyes were red. "Mom has disappeared and cannot be found. Not only will you not look for her, but you will also eat and drink. How happy you are." Jacob said embarrassingly, "Oh, me. Oh, I really don't."